And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of the Green White Checkered Podcast. I am Joe. I will be hosting this week's episode, joined as always by Andrew, Austin, and Zach.
Hello.
We are gonna hop right in, do a little recap of Richmond and Road America. Trucks and Cup were at Richmond, Xfinity at Road America. So we'll hop right into Richmond. So we had RFK pretty much just pub stomp everybody. With Chris Buscher coming away with the win. Brad had a good finish to it. It could have honestly been 1-2 if Brad didn't muck it up there. But what do we think about Richmond? Is the racing still back to acceptable levels? What do we think, guys?
I think it's different. It's not what everybody wants from Richmond or what everybody thinks Richmond should be, the action track, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's like a strategy race now, which I enjoy. You know, it's not what you want from a short track necessarily. You do want the beating and banging and the good hard racing, but you know, seeing different strategies, seeing some comers and goers and stuff is still good. We obviously still have a long way to go with our short track package, because it's not where anybody wants it to be, I don't think. But I didn't hate it. But I've been a proponent of Richmond needs 2 dates. However, if this is the Richmond we get, you can make an argument for 1 date, I guess. I don't love it, but I have to concede. I don't think we need 2 races of this.
No, absolutely not. I mean, I thought it's better than what we've seen before. But I think that, back to our point last week, I think this is definitely a track that should lose a date. Like, not even if the racing was even a little bit better, I think it's hard to argue that Richmond deserves 2.
Now,
before it was hard to argue that they even deserved 1, but now I think they at least deserve 1, but I definitely don't think they deserve 2.
I saw quick 2 race per track point since we're talking about it. If their second race was back in the playoffs, would it be a better race? Because Martinsville, the spring race kind of sucks. The fall race is theoretically better because it's the playoffs. People are bumping big, and it's a cutoff race. I don't know. I heard that. I forget what podcast, but I heard someone talk about that, and I thought that was an interesting point. But I still agree, Richmond. Excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm sorry. That came out of nowhere. Yeah.
I don't think it needs 2 dates. I know I was watching the truck race, and there was like 5 people in the stands. So I didn't really pay attention to the stands on Sunday, but I don't know. I mean, we saw Pocono, the 1 date, it filled the stands. So I think it's something we might look to at Richmond. But I will say, if we're going to keep 1 Richmond date, we do it in the summer, so it's hot and slick.
I agree. I believe it was the one good shot I saw of the Richmond stands was maybe like 80%. I know like it definitely turn 2 was not full at all. But I know they didn't announce a sellout like Pocono did, so who knows how close they were to that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Well, sellout is kind of like a meh term, just because if I have 10 seats and this track has 100 seats, well, I can easily sell out 10 seats where, you know, it's harder for you to sell 100. So that term, we like to throw it around, but without some context, it's like, what does that really mean? Like, I mean, Darlington's a sellout, but I think that only has like 50,000 capacity. Fact check me there.
That's
but
about right.
That's not near what Charlotte is or was, you know, so I don't know. It's kind of apples and oranges sometimes, I think.
I still think if a race isn't selling out, that says a lot.
If you're not filling your capacity, there's probably an issue, because there's a reason why you have your capacities, because you could fill those seats.
Right.
So yeah, I will. I'm just saying, when you're comparing track to track like that, it's kind of weird.
Too, when you got like, you know, I guess in Richmond's case, they're going there twice a year, so it's only 2 times in the entire year. And if you can't get enough people to pack out your stands, whereas, you know, like, I understand the Panthers not selling out every Sunday, even if they're good, or Charlotte FC not selling out every Sunday or every Saturday, you know, because those stadiums are so full or so big, but and you have X amount of games a season. Obviously, you know, a baseball team's not going to sell out every single game, because that'd be ridiculous. Who's going to that many baseball games? But I think when you have 2 races in your town the entire year, to me, I'm like, I feel like the bar should be selling out to a certain point, or at least getting close to a sellout. Which
I mean, the problem is
you don't take, but
you don't just have 2 races a year. You have like 4. Like how many tracks is Richmond close to?
Well, that's the thing too. You got Martinsville, you have Charlotte.
How far is Bristol away from Richmond? I really don't know.
Pretty far, I think.
Is that pretty far?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, even Martinsville and Charlotte, like, which one do I want to go to right now if given the choice? So it's not really you just have 2. You have what, 4?
Well, and even then, it's like, okay, Charlotte and Darlington now have 2 dates.
Or no, I'm sorry, 6.
They have reduced capacity, but they're selling out. I think Charlotte sells out both, if not they're really close. But Darlington sells out both. So
Charlotte sells out the 600 for sure. The Roval, I think. I feel like they sell the Roval too.
If they don't, it's super close.
Yeah.
Do they sell maximum seating capacity for the Roval, or do they cut it down?
It's maximum.
I think they do max. Yeah,
they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they did some goofy seating arrangement because it's the road course or something.
No, and obviously, Charlotte NASCAR capital, if they're not selling out, we
have a problem there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. But yeah, I think that Richmond definitely needs 1 date.
Yeah, unless we can get the car back to the way it should be, it's hard to justify having a single date.
I agree. And we'll go ahead, Andrew.
So I don't know. This is kind of weird to me. I mean, we're talking about getting rid of a date when I actually thought the race was great. So I mean, I'm for getting rid of a date, but it's just one of those weird things where you're like, oh, the racing was good, but let's get rid of this fucking thing.
It's good, but it's like I don't want to see this at a short track, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this was like the strategy aspect. Like this race at Pocono is awesome. This race at Charlotte is awesome. This race at Richmond, where I have a different expectation of the product, not so much. Like it's still good. I'm not saying it was bad, but it's like I don't know. I'm open to the idea. I feel like there's a better place we could take the second race.
I agree. I was waiting for the pod to say it. It was like I'm obviously a known Richmond hater of the past few years of Richmond, and like I did think it was a good race for what it was. Right, it was strategy. It was long green flag runs. But when I think of Richmond, I think of a short track, and when I think of a short track, I think of not necessarily wrecking everybody's shit, but like door banging, moving guys out of the way. The only really thing we got was Larson moving Nenny because he had new tires. And whatever Noah and Suarez were doing there at the end, but I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a good race. I'm still a Richmond hater, I guess, but I will admit it was a good race. But I still like my short tracks to be short track racing.
Yeah, can't argue with that. I mean, it's the spring race was the same way. The lap cars were adding to the race, right? That's what it was again this last time. So, yeah, it is a short track. We all know the short track package isn't great.
I think things did get exciting when you were seeing more of the lap traffic come into play. Like I think that was my argument. The last Richmond race is, that's kind of why I want stages to go away. Is you see that interaction. You might not be able to see straight up passes for the lead, but you throw in some slower traffic and stuff like that. Who knows what'll happen? I mean, I forget. Yeah, it was Richmond where. I don't remember who was leading. Somebody was leading, and they caught lap traffic, and then whoever was chasing them caught them down, and then there was like a really good battle as they were trying to get through lap traffic. So I think that adds a different dynamic. It makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
And stages kind of put a stop to that.
Yeah, that was our main thing last time when we were talking about Richmond was, let's get rid of stages. And I mean, again, here's a race where no stages. It really proves that it would have been a great race.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that kind of hurt the strategy component a little bit. I mean, it was still okay. Like there's still like it seemed like everybody was doing the 2-stop strategy and plus or minus 10 laps to the other guy. Truex tried the 1-stop, but it just seemed like that didn't work so well for whatever reason. I guess it was too hot and the tires just wore off a little too much for that to be effective. So we didn't even have that like dynamic of 2 main strategies that actually worked. Like it was. Like they tried playing it up on TV, but I think when Truex stayed out and Buscher pit for the second time, he was like only half a straightaway behind him. It's like, oh, he's going to get him for sure.
Yeah.
I think one thing, and I don't want to harp too much on the stage thing, so we've talked about that a lot, but I think that one thing especially with a track like this where a large reason for the stage cautions, the argument is that it adds excitement, because you have the restarts and everyone bunches back up and everything. But how many races do we watch where we get them bunched up, they race hard for 1 or 2 laps, and they're already strung out single file 2 laps in?
It's all the time.
It's all the time. So I'm like, there's not much of a leg to stand on to justify throwing stage cautions, because even whenever you are throwing them to add that excitement's gone. 2 minutes later, they're back to what they were doing. But now the strategy's out, so now that part of interest is out. I think it's just, in my mind, obviously, like I said, if we were running NASCAR, we'd have it all fixed by now, and we'd be back like we were, in the senior days. But I think that there's not much to stand on against no cautions like we do at road courses now.
Yeah, good stuff there. How do we feel?
See Larson give Denny the old boot and scoot.
gave him the boot and scoot there. Denny said on his podcast he didn't care about that.
No, I'm sure he didn't.
Yeah,
he was like, hey, all right, yeah.
There you go. And obviously Larson had a zillion lap better tires there. So
then you should have texted Larson a picture of his Pocono trophy.
Oh man!
After the race,
that would have been something. But speaking of Larson, Hendrick and really Chevy as a whole was out to lunch all day.
I know what you're talking about. Kyle Busch, P3. Get your Hendrick boys in line.
All right, okay, fair. It was RCR was there, and Silver Spoon even lucked his way into a top 10 there, I think. Yeah. So
it was HMS and Trackhouse were nowhere to be found.
Dude,
they were not. They were okay in stage 1, I think. William and Chase had a top 10 stage 1, and they were just like, nope, we're out of here. So that was interesting.
I enjoyed the little battle between Bowman and Larson there at the
That was awesome.
stage.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. But do we think Ford is fully back, or are
Ford,
they just good at short tracks?
No, Ford's still way off. But even Joey Logano said in his post race that the conditions hid their weaknesses. So the track being slick and not have much grip and stuff like that, it sort of hid their problems. I think RFK just sort of hit the setup this week. And they show good speed regularly. I didn't even know it, but both the cars are already in the playoffs on points. Well in. So
Brad's
I didn't even know that.
150 up on the cut line, so he's got he's got to not finish last.
And
the next few races, and he's good.
It's kind of funny. What's kind of funny is that we've been harping on Ford for being way off in performance this year, but guess which manufacturer has the most cars in the playoffs right now?
Ford?
Yeah.
They do.
They have 6, Toyota has 5, and Chevy has 5.
And 5 of them, they have 3 locked in on a win. Kevin and Brad are pretty much locked in. So, yeah, Ford is kind of sneaky. They're kind of hanging around. They're there.
But that last spot is kind of up for grabs because you got McDowell and then Elliott and probably Ty Gibbs are your 3 main point their way in guys.
I don't think Bubba's fully safe.
I mean, that spot's gone. Honestly, I think somebody's going to win that hasn't won.
Well, if you're that's always the proverbial wrench in everything. But assuming there isn't one,
true.
Assuming there isn't a winner that's below the cut line, that spot seems up for grabs for any manufacturer right now.
Yeah, we got 3, essentially 3 wildcard tracks coming up. So
we sure do.
Anything can happen, but we'll move. Any last things on any notes on Cup, and then we'll move to Xfinity and trucks. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're doing. Since we're talking about Cup and Richmond, might as well talk about the short track package test they did today.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so they did the last couple of days actually. I think there were 6
stroke.
I think so.
What kind of stroke?
I can't speak English now.
Camera for?
No. So NASCAR did a 2-day test at Richmond with 6 guys trying all types of stuff except horsepower, which I'm sure we all have a take on that. Doing short track pack, they took out the diffuser, changed the splitter, and the ride heights and a bunch of stuff. And newsflash, apparently none of it worked. So
I wouldn't say it didn't work. I just don't think they got the
Driver
results
said they didn't even
wanted.
notice the difference.
that's why I said it didn't work, because the driver
That,
So-
that was with the splitter, though.
The splitter and the rear diffuser, they said they didn't notice any difference.
Yeah.
Now the different tires they changed, they said that, which is what at least Denny Hamlin's been saying was the problem the whole time, is the tires. And I'm sure other people, but I just remember hearing him say it on his podcast all the time. That seemed to be the most notable change. So I don't know. They whatever is easily removable that creates downforce, take it the hell off. Get rid of the spoiler, get rid of the diffuser. Anything underneath you can just unbolt and take off and get rid of it. Whatever's creating downforce that you can easily just pop out, get rid of it and see what happens. And raise the ride height.
I agree.
Well,
they got some Carolina
did it-
squats with those ride heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything about like what the driver said on the ride height? Because I mean, I just posted a picture of the 41 car and it is raised.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like, well,
I
the
think
problem is it's only raising the front, it's not raising the back. So it's like
That's
still
how they used
pushing
to do
all
it,
the.
though.
Yeah, but they didn't have a diffuser. I believe that picture you posted is still with them having the diffuser in the car.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know how they were doing everything. Like, and that's the other thing. Like, are they just throwing a bunch of shit at it and seeing what
Yes.
sticks, or are they
Yes.
trying to actually be sort of scientific about it and say, okay, let's put the stock package back on, remove the rear diffuser. How does that, so you control the different changes. You're not doing a bunch of changes at one time. Like, do one thing independent at a time and see sort of what happens. Like, are you
Scientific
raising
method.
it? Yeah. Like, are you raising it, changing the splitter, and removing the rear diffuser all at once? I mean, are you just throwing everything at it and see what happens? I don't know if that's what
In
they're
which
doing
case,
or not.
one thing
But
could be fixing it, the other one could make it worse, and then you're just offsetting the.
right, you don't know what's what. It seemed like from the post I saw they were just kind of throwing whatever at it. I don't know. It seemed kind of haphazard. But then again, just getting snippets from Bob tweets, so who knows what they're really doing.
I feel like they went into it thinking this little underwing thing that they were going to put on.
They
was
were
gonna
super
fix it.
confident.
Yeah, and then when it didn't work, they're like, "Fuck, just do
Yeah.
whatever, get it to work."
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
there
this
was
is their last real chance on a track. I mean, you got Martinsville coming, but that's not. There's not enough
And-
speed to make a difference, right? So
Bristol too, or they're not doing a short
they
track.
don't do it on
package.
Bristol, yeah.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I mean, this is their last chance to really try it out, and I mean, they're going balls to the wall, which I love to see. I will say that underwing thing, great idea, except for what happens when somebody tries to pass with that. The same
Oh.
fucking thing. So I mean, all you're doing is you added a lip, right? That's supposed to less downforce because the air is pushing it up. So when you're behind somebody, you're not getting air on that wing. You got all the downforce. But when you try to pass, you lose all your downforce.
Mhm.
So it makes no fucking sense. Like, good idea, but not practical.
I just think arrow trickery isn't the way to go. It's not gonna.
Yeah, not on a short track.
No, it's.
They-
I mean, there's
they-
some
did
sort
it
of arrow
Atlanta.
issue. There's some sort of arrow issue because the guys always talk about how they get within half a second, then all of a sudden the front end washes out. So, yes, there's an arrow issue, but I don't think you're going to put some trick arrow piece on there to resolve it.
I want to
Yeah.
see that underwing on at Atlanta. Give me that. It'd be fucking
Yeah.
insane.
Gosh.
This NASCAR is going to do literally any. They'll run lawnmower engines before doing more horsepower. That's my takeaway.
I
I
told
mean,
you, we are not getting
it's-
more horsepower until we get our hybrid powertrain.
I-
Mark my word.
Yeah, I know it's no it's shout old man shouting at a cloud, like they're not going to do anything with horsepower, which is so silly.
I mean, I saw. Where did I see? I saw a tweet from somebody. It was somebody. I think it was a Bob tweet. Saying, the old excuse. Well, they don't want to increase horsepower because they want to attract new manufacturers. What new manufacturers? Who's
Yeah.
coming? I haven't heard of anybody. We heard Dodge was thinking about it, but where are they at? Like, I don't like
Dodge
this
is happily
idea.
go high horsepower.
I mean, not really. They're killing all their high horsepower stuff. They killed all their V8s. The Charger, the
When?
Challenger,
Oh, they're
this
still
year.
making 'em. Really?
Yeah. I think this is the last year. Either this year's the last year or next year's last year. But they're killing them. They're going all electric. So Dodge is out. But it's like
Yeah.
I don't love this idea of like hurting our racing product for a manufacturer that might join. Like
Yeah,
if you create a good racing product first, I'm a firm believer that everything else will fall in line. If you create something people want to watch, people are going to watch it. More people that are watching it means more companies and manufacturers want to be a part of that.
If you
So it's
build
like
it,
take
they will
care of that
come.
on the front end. Exactly.
Exactly.
You take care of it on the front end. You make your racing product a priority, and if it's good enough, everything else will just fall into place.
And I know it's a totally different form of racing, but Ford is literally going into Formula One where the horsepower is over 1,000.
Well, I think
So-
Formula One keeps their costs down pretty good, don't they? They usually run plastics and stuff like that. Nothing crazy like carbon fiber or titanium or any sort of weird.
I don't know if
Well, I don't know.
I would-
I don't
I
know
would-
if saving costs and Formula One belong in the same sentence, but
No, they
that's
don't.
true. That's true.
So it's just like, well, no, but that's like the whole argument, right? It's like they want to save money by going to less horsepower, but you're right. Then Ford and Audi are going to freaking Formula One, where
Yeah, but-
God knows how much they spent.
but what kind of engines does Formula One run?
Hybrids.
Yep.
I'm telling
Yeah.
you, it's coming.
But what the IMSA cars they have? Do
They're
they have
hybrid.
more horsepower?
They're hybrids.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
hybrids.
So in Chevy's
I'm telling you that.
Toyotas and that. So like they can run more horsepower. Yeah, like you said, like that whole
That
like-
Cadillac GTP is a test program for the Cup hybrid system. I'm convinced of it. I think we're going to get a similar system to the GTP because I mean, who owns IMSA?
NASCAR.
NASCAR.
yeah.
So I mean, there's some stuff going on. Who owns Cadillac? GM. Who owns Chevy? GM.
Yeah.
There's some things going on.
I think NASCAR is
they-
going to have the biggest marketing PR difficulty making that change. I mean, getting like everyone switched over is going to be a pain, but golly, people complain about the littlest things ever in the world.
That's why you got to give them what they want. What does everybody want more than anything?
Yeah,
Horsepower, baby.
Ever since you've said that every week, I agree more and more with that take.
The main thing is you don't say it's a hybrid. You just say you're going to
more
have this
horsepower.
Electric
850
assist.
horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you don't even say that. You don't say what you're doing. You just say, hey, we're going to have this horsepower package.
Well, here's the
That's
thing.
it. You don't say what it is.
I mean, but the manufacturers want people to know the power of their hybrid engines, though? Like, aren't they gonna? I think
They
they're
can
gonna be
advertise that.
yeah, but they're gonna want to put hybrid on that, so that way it relates to their cars.
Yeah, they won't hide it. They're going to use it as a.
Yeah.
That's why the horsepower has to be there to soften that blow.
Mhm.
If you come out and say we're running hybrids and they're 550 horsepower, people are going to lose their fucking mind. But if you come out and say, if you come out and say, hey, 1,000 horsepower, we're back, baby, and it's electric, boogie oogie oogie, people are going to be all about it.
I agree. But we could talk about horsepower all day. We all agree we need more of that. But let's hit on Xfinity and trucks. We'll do trucks first since they were at Richmond. Ty Majeski tossed one away there.
Ty Majeski and team toss one away.
Yeah, that
he
not
sped in
great.
pit lane. He sped in pit lane, and then they decided not to pit. So it was a group effort of how can we fuck this race up when we have a truck that's half a second faster than the field.
Like, after the speeding penalty, he worked his way through the field so quick, and then they're just like, yeah, let's not pit. I don't get it. Like,
I have no idea. It's the stupidest thing in the world. Like, that was such an easy win.
it
Yeah.
was, man. He was, so much quicker.
Carson Hat Boy, host of our got him his third. So the favorite driver of this podcast.
DBC's favorite driver now.
Yeah, he was on.
Apparently so.
On this week. I have not listened to it. I really don't care to.
We're different.
But,
We're real, Carson. If you want to come on, you can come on, and we'll talk about how much we actually don't like you. So
Yeah.
instead of like DVC that talks crap on you all week and then acts like they're best buddies when you come in. So
Yeah, well, so that was truck race. Xfinity.
I think Deegan got into somebody too. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I think
It was Dean Thompson.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah,
Dude, I don't know what it is with her
And
and him. She just wrecks the fuck out of him all the time, and it's hilarious.
and she missed the playoffs by a lot too. I think.
It's like 170 points. Like,
In a
you're
Thor
one of the
Sport truck?
best trucks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeez
Yeah.
Louise.
She's done. She's got to be
She's
done.
got to be, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean,
not,
It's gonna be money talks, which
which is unfortunate, but
yeah.
you can't.
It was a
Not
good
great
truck
for
race,
her.
though. It was the first truck race I watched in a while, and I actually enjoyed it.
yeah, I caught part of it.
Yeah.
I have to
It
say.
wasn't a wreck fest. It was
No,
pretty
it was
nice.
pretty good.
Yeah. So Xfinity, I admit I was not able to watch any of this, just highlights. But we had
Finish
Sam
was
Mayer.
wild.
Yeah, I heard the finish was wild. I saw the clips.
Yeah.
Sam Mayer got his first W, and we had AJ skipping cup practice and quality to run this race to theoretically get an easy win, but that
What
didn't
a
happen.
fucking dumb move that is.
Yeah,
I don't-
meh. I don't know. I
And
don't
what?
disagree with it.
How do you
They're
not?
not going to make it. They're not going to make it in points. They know that. So he's not going to go to Richmond and win.
Where's
so
he at
his
in
plan? He's out of it, but he's right there. But they already know they're up against Chase Elliott and Bubba and all these guys that are gonna run better every week. His only shot is to go to these 2 road courses and try to win, and that's what they're gonna do. So he pretty much said, "Hey, I love Road America. It's one of his favorite tracks. He's gonna go have fun and try to get colleague a win because they're fucking struggling over there too." And I mean, I am not too upset with it. Like, I get it. Yeah, your focus should be on points, but they're not making it on points.
He's only 22 points out.
He's not gonna make it.
That's not many. He's not going to make it by not qualifying.
It's Richmond.
You still got to try.
Qualifying isn't going to help him. Where's that car going to qualify? 25th? Oh my God, yeah.
That's better than fucking
spots,
36.
And he's going to fall back and get wrecked like fucking Haley does every week.
No. Justin Haley isn't as good of a driver as AJ. I think it's fucking dumb. You're going to... They didn't even win. If they'd win, you might... If they would have won, you might have had an argument. But the fact that you went over there and lost, it was fucking dumb. Like, I get it. Richmond isn't your best track, but you could still use it as an opportunity to pad some points, and you have to get off the ground running if you're that far off on speed. Like, starting in the back, 36th place, you're fucking yourself. Like, if you did qualify, who knows? Maybe you go out in one of the groups that has, because they always talk about this difference between Group A and Group B and how one runs a little faster than the other. Maybe you get lucky, you get put in a faster group, and you qualify top 20. And you're off to a decent start. You play a little bit of strategy. Who knows where you get? Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't get it.
They knew they weren't going to get.
I mean, not with that attitude. Holy shit. But yeah, I think colleagues just desperate. I think they're in a very desperate position
100%.
to do something.
Like I said, I think there's a chance.
They haven't. When's the last time they won anything?
not this year, that's for sure.
I was about to say. Well, no, they won with Chandler Smith.
Oh, that's true. They did, yes.
So they won one with Chandler Smith, but other than that, they haven't been anywhere. Then you had Justin Haley, who cost them a win, an easy dub at Atlanta. So I don't know. I think they're having sponsorship troubles, and they're desperate for any kind of win right now. That's the only reason why you would pull a move like that, because it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of your championship. I don't care how off you think you might be at Richmond. Like, you still don't just say, fuck it, when you're that close. If they're 100 points out, sure, whatever. But they're 22. That's not many.
Yeah.
That's just one guy having a bad day.
Yeah.
Where did he finish?
I don't know.
I also want another cup point I meant to say is Justin Haley was getting used to his Rick Ware ride already by getting lapped in stage in his RWR ride by getting lapped in stage one in a Collie car. So that was funny to me. But yeah, so Xfinity, yeah, seemed like it was a good race. Sam Mayer finally got his, so
I don't think you will see Justin Haley in anything decent for the rest of the season. I think he's
no, they're not
all
giving
their
him
money
shit.
is
Yeah.
going other places, and next week it's all going to be in AJ's car.
Yep, they're giving him go-kart engines the rest of the year.
He finished 27th, which I feel like is average for him this year.
I'm curious. I want to see what he finished in the spring race.
But yeah, so while we're looking that up, any last thoughts on the NASCAR races from the weekend before we move on?
The Road America one, like NASCAR, what the fuck are you doing? So they're coming to this last restart. Did he? Yeah. So, I mean, missing practice didn't cost him anything. But what are you doing? You have the 19 car smoking like a motherfucker, dropping fluid before they go green, and they're just like, meh, let him go. Like, you knew he was going to blow up. You knew he was going to drop. He was already putting fluid down. But instead, they throw the green flag. He dumps fluid all the way around the track. They don't make him get off the track, nothing. And it's just like, okay, cool. You had one lap. And that you couldn't do it. So then they clean it up. They do a shitty job. And that's why none of the guys can make a turn in the last restart. I mean, it cost Justin Allgaier a win. Easily. So I don't know. I was pretty pissed at it. I had money on Allgaier, but
Oh, there
even
it is.
that,
There it is.
yeah.
There it is.
Like, in
That's,
any
that makes
series,
sense
why are you gonna let a guy that is dropping fluid keep going? Like he drove past pit entrance, already dropping fluid, and they're just like, yeah, whatever. Let's let it happen.
I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. I think that's tough. That's a tough call. I think NASCAR's always hesitant to throw damage flags like that, as we see with Chase Elliott at Roval.
Mhm.
What?
But I mean, especially if that. I mean, where was he running at that point? He was like top 20.
He was probably around 20th.
Around 20. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, the car was just billowing smoke. Like he should have got black flagged instantly.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
weren't they coming to green right before that? Like when he was really puffing smoke, though.
Yeah, so it was out of Canada corner. It was like he was really starting to pump smoke. So they got quite a bit of time to tell him to get off the track. And I
They
mean,
did.
as soon as he started going up the hill and you could see him get on the gas, it was just like, oh, well, this is going to be fucking back to caution. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a bad call. And honestly, just let Allgaier go around, take the win, because then you have 45 minutes or whatever it was to clean it up. I don't know. It was a bad call, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's a tough spot for NASCAR because they're coming to green. I mean, yeah, they have plenty of time to get, but like, you know, you can't, as soon as you see him start dropping a little bit of fluid and smoking, you can be, oh, get him up, like, oh, black flag. So, I mean, he keeps it up, keeps dropping fluid, and then they're coming to green. I mean, I think NASCAR's also a little scared to make calls like that. Like a lot of, I mean, sorry to use a soccer example, but, you know, if the game's tied, it's the, 5 minutes to go and in the, 85th minute, and there's a guy in the box and he kind of gets a little bit of a bad shove. The ref's always super hesitant to throw a PK because, I mean, that's a game-altering call. And yeah, this is a different example. The guy's running 20th, but still, I mean, that's, you're making them, a few laps ago, making everyone do a bunch more caution laps, try to get him off, then clean up the fluid that you saw him drop. It's like, or just kind of let him ride it out and see what happens. It's not really in the, too much of the track, whatever. I think NASCAR's just a little bit hesitant to make kind of judgment calls like that, for better, for worse. Probably for worse in this kind of situation from the aftermath of it. But I don't know. I think it's a tough timing. If he was doing it the lap before and they still had a whole nother lap and NASCAR calls, I mean, obviously that's an easy dumb call. And I still don't agree with it. I still think they made a mistake, but I think it is a little bit tricky for them to be able to make that call like that.
I know he was smoking all the way back past the carousel, so.
So,
I mean, that's
that's
over half a track at Road America. I mean, it's 2.5 miles
right
at, 60 miles an hour at most.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I thought it was a bad call. The other one that they missed was there was a huge wreck, and the broadcast didn't even talk about it. It was at the back. So, the choose cone was right before the last turn. So, these guys would slow down a lot, pick their spot, and then fly up to the pack. So there's this big gap. Well, then you have these guys all the way in the back. They're going green, and they haven't picked yet.
Right.
And so these guys are then trying to fly through this last turn. There's like a 6-car wreck. And the camera's showing them, coming up the hill, going green. And you can just see all these cars in the gravel pit down at the bottom of the hill. It's just like, nice.
That's funny.
I think Vargas talked a little bit about it. I'm not sure if he ran or if it was the car, the JD car, but they were in it. But yeah, let's move the choose cone back a little bit.
Move it back.
Move back. All right. So hello.
Yeah.
So in other NASCAR news from the week, we had somewhat pretty big news. So the Xfinity Series starting in 2025 will be exclusively on the CW for TV. So pretty big deal there, I suppose. Thoughts on that?
That's pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah.
I
Was it
definitely
115 million a year they're paying?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
NASCAR's
pretty well.
producing it, so
Yeah, that's the one that gets me, is the NASCAR producing it thing. So this is a lot more money in NASCAR's pocket here.
yeah. And hopefully for the teams too. Especially in Xfinity when there's maybe 10 cars that can realistically win every week. So hopefully that helps some of the smaller teams get a little more competitive. And
Who produces Formula One? Is it Formula One?
I think so. It's
I
definitely not
think it is.
ESPN.
It's not ESPN.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't think.
it's,
I don't
it's
think
Formula One.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Casino's
yeah.
not running it. Yeah. So I
No.
mean, I wonder. I would guess this is a test run for NASCAR to see. Okay, like at least get their feet wet, get production rolling, so then they can just do it all themselves.
For Cup, yeah.
For Cup, yeah. I mean, which I think is a good move because then you kind of have a little more autonomy. Jesus.
Autonomy.
Autonomy. That's
Autonomy.
the word.
There you go.
Ophthalmology.
I'm not the only one having a stroke today.
Ophthalmologist. Onomatopoeia with the with the production. I don't know what kind of how that would really affect going forward, but I can only imagine it'd be positive for NASCAR. Maybe a little bit less back and forth with TV deals. Like obviously you have to have a channel to broadcast it on, but I don't know. I think it's a good move.
This is how Fox kind of became a thing. They bought into football just out of nowhere, and back in the early '90s, I think. And now look at Fox. So, hey, if this works for the CW, I mean, I'm for it.
Who owns the CW?
CW, I thought.
Yeah,
I don't think they're owned by any. I mean,
I'm sure they have some kind of primary.
Well, there's like three conglomerate.
I was gonna say
corporations
BlackRock, Disney.
Yeah,
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think it is
Warner
Nexstar
Warner
Media
Brothers?
and Paramount own them.
Oh, so Paramount. So
Yeah.
okay. So
That's-
Paramount
that's-
Plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
That could be
CBS technically, right?
Well, the CW has their own free app.
Yeah, they do.
Shoot.
So yeah, if you don't,
you can already, watch, you can already watch it for free, and it's cool that Xfinity will have like a home. Like you're not gonna have to jump around. Is it on NBC, USA, Fox Sports
Right.
1? Like, it's just dope on the CW.
Right.
So
And
I think
as
it's pretty
much as we hate Fox, we know where every truck race is going to be on Fox. Granted, I don't watch a lot.
Unfortunately.
of them, but yeah, unfortunately, it's on Fox. But hey, FS1 Friday night, that's where your truck race is.
I can only imagine it's gonna be pretty rough the first year at least. As
Kings. Big growing pains.
But I mean,
That's
I think
expected.
you can only go up from Fox. So
do they have any sports on the CW? Do they have any sports
No.
broadcasting?
do they have
experience?
nothing?
No.
I swear they have
it's all
I
the
thought-
DC stuff. That's pretty much it.
like the Flash and
Yeah.
Well, wait, hold
They said
on.
Supernatural in the CW.
I thought
According-
maybe they put soccer on there. Hold
I was about to say, did they pick up soccer this year?
Oh, they have live golf. LOL.
ACC,
they-
college football and basketball live, and the motorsports documentary series 100 Days to Indy.
Okay, so they have a couple things. They're probably they're starting to get their feet wet in the sports. So,
I don't hate it. I'm here for it.
yeah. So
I'm just worried NASCAR producing it. They try to go like all Michael Waltrip grid walk with it.
No, I can't imagine they would. I think
they're tired of that too.
I think they've seen the backlash just like Fox saw it, which is why they wheeled Mikey back, like on their broadcast even, and kind of wheeled their own goofiness back, like last year I think it was, where they really started taking it a little bit more seriously. So I think NASCAR is at least aware of that, even if they liked it before. I think that now they're like, okay, we've seen the backlash. People don't like this.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. So I don't see them doing that with it, but I think it'll be rough. I could see a lot of technical issues just because they're having to really use a lot of equipment that
sorting it out.
Yeah, sorting it out. But I mean,
How many years was this?
I think 7.
Sweet.
Okay.
I mean, their production team is really solid. I mean, we can see it from a lot of the stuff they have produced. They've had a production team for a while, obviously, and the stuff they put out has been really good. But obviously, a lot of that's like they do some live stuff, yeah, but a lot of that stuff is edited videos and stuff. But I definitely think they have the knowledge to run that kind of stuff. I think a lot of guys in their department, I know a lot of the guys in their department have live production experience on a large scale. So they obviously have the knowledge to do it. It's just going to be working out the kinks, and we'll get there.
Yep. So big news there, and then also other big news. It's kind of been rumored for a while, but it's now official that SVG will officially be leaving supercars and coming to NASCAR next year. Now it seems like it's hinted maybe Xfinity I haven't seen anything concrete either way, but
Nobody knows.
nobody knows. I mean,
his
is
comments said that he'd be going to a lower series, but then the teams that are talking about only have cup teams, so I don't know.
yeah, because it's like, where would he go for Cup and a good ride? Probably you would think Trackhouse, but they
I just
maybe
I just
don't
don't know.
necessarily need a new charter for that, but that'd be smart, I think.
I just don't know why you would leave supercars to run the second tier series in NASCAR. Like you're moving the whole way around the world, halfway around the world, to run the second tier series. No way does he get paid as much to run Xfinity as he does supercars.
I mean,
I mean,
how
I
much
don't know
does
that for
supercar guys
sure,
make?
but
Well,
I don't know.
if he brings in the sponsor money, he could get paid pretty well. I don't know.
it would just be wild. And then like, if the idea is to get to Cup, like I don't know, like the supercars to the Gen 7 Cup car is a much more logical transition than to go supercars, Xfinity car, which again I still stand by. I think if he ran the Xfinity race in Chicago, I don't think he wins because that's a completely different animal now. Now you're talking about an H pattern. You're talking about, you know, the difficulty in downshifting and wheel hopping and how terrible those cars are to drive on road courses, whereas the Gen 7 is a lot closer to what he's used to. So I don't know. It wouldn't make sense to me, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe that's what he wants. Maybe he wants a little bit of a change.
Maybe. I mean, that very well could be.
But-
I'm thinking of the idea that he just wants to go to Cup to pub stomp, but maybe he.
But he has to be on a good
wants to
team
do
to do
something
that.
different.
He can't join the 77 car and pub stomp.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Does he bring?
Well, I
Red
mean,
Bull?
maybe not pub stomp, but well, then that's the other question. Like, what team is he joining in Xfinity? And then does that hurt? Like, so like right now we're all in all of them because he came in over and just won the race. So now, if he joins Xfinity and he's not on a top tier team, and now all of a sudden he's running, I don't know, 20th in Xfinity, are we as impressed by him?
I would
Like, does
think
that
he
hurt?
would-
Does that
I mean,
hurt the mystique?
There's gonna be 2 JRM cars open. I mean, if he's hell bent on staying in Chevy,
I actually saw
that'll
something.
work.
I saw something just before we started that said Brandon Jones is supposed to be back in JRM.
Oh, well, then just one open JRM car.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Yeah.
it was on the internet, so you know it's a fact.
It's true.
That's true.
You can't lie on the internet.
I mean, we saw the other one
No.
where he was leaving JRM, so I don't know.
Yeah, we have one confirmed junior JRM spot. Maybe Joe Gibbs puts a 4th car back out there if they have the money. Because I mean, you would think he would bring Red Bull. No,
I
You
don't
would
know.
think.
I mean,
I
he
don't
came
know.
over. He ran a Chevy. He'll probably stay in a Chevy, is my guess.
He's
yeah.
got-
Did
he's
he run
probably
a
got to
Chevy
stay
in
soon.
Australia?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So I guess that's probably Trackhouse and JRM's music for him. So
I don't know. I think Justin Marks just pulls a rabbit out of his ass and he gives Shane the 91 car. That's my gut feeling.
he'll find a charter for that. I bet.
I think he'd be willing to risk it. And I mean, I think the one thing that would make sense is if he came and ran Xfinity for a team full time, but then had like a heavy
Cup
part time
Yeah.
Cup schedule. I could see that.
Who
Who knows? Maybe Colleague will pick him up.
They'll have an open spot. So
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's big news. Excited for that, and he'll be obviously racing Indy in a couple weeks. So we'll see if he's still got it on the NASCAR track, nursery course. So any last thoughts on NASCAR before we head to some other motorsporting news?
Well, we still got NASCAR to talk about, don't we?
We
Chase
do.
Elliott gonna point his way in.
Yeah.
I think
What do
so.
you think, Joe? What do you think?
He's 40 out right now.
Let's
Suarez-
pull the bias out of your ass. And what do you
Okay.
think?
As objectively as I can be,
Yes.
I think so. Because you think about it, Suarez is ahead of him. He's not doing well at all right now.
He's not
Trackhouse
racing
is-
Suarez.
Right, he's racing McDowell and maybe Bubba, but I think Bubba's a little secure in that spot. He's got 2 road courses, which he's good at. He's got Daytona. Obviously he hasn't won at Daytona, but he's won at Talladega, so he can win at a speedway race. And I don't, off the top of my head, I don't recall how good he's run at Michigan.
I'm glad you brought that up because I did some number crunching today.
All right, well there you go. Hit me up with it.
And as as much as it annoys me, I am on Team Elliott making it.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
yeah.
think you're right.
And I'll tell you why. I looked at all of their races at plate tracks, so Daytona, Dega, Atlanta. Well, I shouldn't call them plate tracks. Super speedways. In the
Yeah,
Gen
come on.
7 era, because I think anything Gen 6 is irrelevant. So just Gen 7 era.
Mhm.
So on the supers, Elliott is beating McDowell with an average finish of 10.5 to McDowell's 15.7.
Okay.
So that's 5 spots better, right? So if he beats him by 5 spots, if he just achieves his average at Daytona, that's a 5-point swing. And then on the road courses, Elliott is beating McDowell by another 5 spots. 7.8 for Elliott average finish, 12.5 for McDowell, and that's only counting the average finishes where they actually competed against each other. I didn't do because I think Elliott missed one for
Okay. Yeah,
his
the Dakota
ski
Rail
lodge
here.
injury.
Yes.
So that's 5 there. So you got two road courses. So that's 10
15.
spots if he achieves it. So 15 in total. And then we go to Michigan, which I haven't heard many people talk about. And I also included Auto Club just because they're sort of similar. Michigan Auto Club, sister tracks. Since we only have the one Gen 7 race at Michigan. And here's where Elliott's really beating McDowell on average finishes at 13th to McDowell's 25 or 26.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 13 spots. So all in all, it's like what's the math there? 26 spots, 26 points.
No, it's
If
15
he just
plus
achieves
13. 15 plus 13 is 20.
28.
Yeah, 28.
So 28 points just if he maintains his average of beating McDowell. So then you add in 13 stage points, and he's got it. So now the only trick is I don't know how McDowell does. I didn't look back and see who gets better points days. I only looked at finishes.
Right.
So I did see something else today that said on the road courses, McDowell has been outpointing Chase. So that could be a hiccup.
Could be a hiccup.
Well, here's an important fact you're forgetting, though, Zach.
Yes.
McDowell's winning at least one of those races. So
100%.
I mean,
he could. He could.
So-
yeah.
no could about it. He will.
He could.
Next week, Dinger's gonna come out. He's gonna win, and this is all gonna be for nothing.
Quit ruining it. This is more fun than that. This battle is very
We-
interesting.
we
It's
need-
very
we
much
need
a David and Goliath.
We need a co-host battle, Joe versus Austin,
Ooh,
for
yeah.
this playoff spot. So
I don't want a new winner just because I want to see how this goes. I think this could be really exciting to watch over the next 4 weeks.
I think that
the other
should be
thing,
the storyline. I mean, obviously, NASCAR's going to be focused on that storyline because it's about Chase making the playoffs.
Huh?
So,
but
Yeah.
I think
But
the other-
McDowell's actually gonna get some screen time.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Good-
That's why I'm
good
like,
for-
cool.
it's good for that team for sure.
100%.
They
Yeah.
deserve it.
I think the other thing Elliott has too is Hendrick is going to be putting everything in that 9 car.
Oh yeah, they're Daddy Rick's giving them a juicer.
I
next 4
don't
weeks.
know. I don't know what they can necessarily do these days for a car, but if it's extra engineering support, building the car set up specifically around Chase, or I don't know, maybe there's an engine that makes an extra couple 3 horsepower, giving that one to Chase. Whatever they can do, I think they're gonna squeeze whatever they can specifically out just for Chase.
I don't disagree. They're gonna juice them up. So we'll.
Now, does Ford give McDowell that same sort of support? Would be interesting. I don't know.
Hmm.
Do they kind of help shoe him in to get their 6th man in the playoffs? I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch. I think Chase can do it. I don't think it's gonna be easier. Which position would you guys rather be in? Would you rather be in defending the 40-point lead, or do you think you could be more aggressive and have a better shot at chasing it?
I'd want to be pursuing, because then
Yeah.
it's like in football, like prevent, and not that McDowell's mean prevent defense, but like prevent defense almost never works. You'd rather be attacking.
Yeah,
At least I would. So
You could overthink it and take yourself out of it.
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
exactly.
Whereas if you're chasing, you're just going for that win.
Yeah.
I mean,
With
So-
NASCAR on your side.
Okay, that's enough.
I really
But-
I really hope, and this is not just like a dig at Chase, because I don't dislike Chase. I just like giving Chase fans crap at Joe.
Specifically me.
Specifically Joe. But I really hope Chase is out until Daytona and then somehow wins Daytona. That way just the conspiracy theories can just go crazy. Twitter will be in flames if that
But
happens.
it's got to be like some shitty call too. Like,
Oh, for sure. Oh,
like
like
rain
caution.
on the
It's got to
way.
be a caution finish. And NASCAR decides to call it way early or way late or something just to give Chase the win.
Can you imagine?
Like, you got freaking race control, like, all right, it's clearly Joey. Joey was way ahead
Can you
of the
imagine?
caution. Then they get a call from freaking Brian France.
Can you imagine if they do what they did at the Xfinity race and in Chicago and call it before halfway?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh God.
Like some monsoon
Lap
comes
4,
into
it
Daytona.
fucking rains. We're like, oh, look, Chase is in the lead. It's done.
What do you know? Yeah,
Oh,
and then they
my
run
God.
under caution with the rain to get to halfway.
Oh,
It's
that would be
10
phenomenal.
laps.
So SRX happened last week.
Joe with a typical subject change. Yep.
Yeah, well, yes. I think Chase can do it objectively and as a Chase fan. So
Yeah, I agree.
there's my answer.
I agree. I hope he doesn't, just because McDowell. But
I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think he can do it. I was mainly the conversation of like a lot of people saying, "No, he can't do it without a win." I certainly think there is a path for him to do it without a win. I think he can definitely point his way in. They're going to have to be on their game though. They can't have a bad race.
sports-related news: no hitter for the Astros.
Ooh, good for him.
F them. I don't care.
Next.
Go Stros.
Yeah, next. Nope, they cheated. They're bad.
So does every team.
Them
They just got
drums
caught.
or trash cans.
So SRX, moving to a couple other motorsport news from last week. We had Kyle Busch come in
Whoop, whoop.
and get a dub at I forget where they were racing. I was watching the race,
Stafford.
but I forget. Stafford, yes, thank you.
Where
Kyle
is my
Busch
race
won.
win diecast, Lionel?
I know, right?
If it was
But
Chase,
we
you
had
have one yesterday. So
Yep.
okay.
sorry.
I'm surprised they didn't just make one for Chase. Like they did for the Chicago race.
But they had a little controversy. Paul Tracy is now suspended, I think, indefinitely from SRX for
Tracy.
yeah, I know he's been wrecking shit the past couple weeks. So
Past couple years.
Since
Yeah.
yeah, I was about to say, since this
Since
shit
it started.
it's-
Yeah.
yeah,
Jonas
so
just done
wrecked
paying
it
for
and-
his car to get fixed.
Yep.
yeah,
I think Ken Trader saying "fuck this guy, I'm out" is enough to
Yeah.
finally say, "Okay,
Yeah.
you can't do this
that's
anymore."
true. That is true. So that was SRX talking F1. Max Verstappen won, and that was
All right,
talking
good.
F1.
F1.
He was not in the lead the whole time, so he did have the grid penalty for the new gearbox, and then
Yeah.
and then he passed him
Lap 2, he was winning. Yeah,
That race
Yeah.
was a snooze fest.
yeah,
Most of
didn't
them
miss
are,
any.
so.
See, I
It's
think
pretty-
every NASCAR fan that thinks NASCAR is boring or like has a shitty race, watch an F1 race
Yeah,
and then come
I
back
agree.
and tell me.
At least quality was kind of fun, even though Max still was like technically on pole. Like that was like McLaren up there.
Piastri, whatever. his
Yeah,
name is.
Piastri, and then the sprint race, Piastri did well too. So at least quality is like the one you want to watch now for the weekend because Max is gonna win by 10 minutes. So
Lewis Hamilton gets a penalty for a racing incident, which is the most Formula One thing of all time.
sure. But we had no kill count from Richmond this week, and
Yeah, I didn't want to put that last incident.
Nah,
on
that
the
was-
flag. Honestly, it's 3 guys, 3 wide, just fighting for it.
I love
Yeah.
when three
I mean-
guys are 3 wide.
Okay, yeah. So but I guess real quick, we did got to talk about Michigan this week. What are we thinking about Michigan? Ford's been very strong there the past few years, across 2 different cars. So what are we looking forward to with Michigan?
What? I just think it'll be a good race. Auto Club was good. Michigan last year was good.
Michigan is always a race to look forward to this car, so I have
I
high
agree.
hopes.
It'll be
Yeah, it should be a
definitely
great race.
be fun to do on iRacing too.
Hopefully,
Look forward to that.
Ooh, I actually might run that this week. That sounds fun.
ooh, word. Richmond was
I'm
not
gonna be
fun, but
busy. Fuck.
Be aware.
I'm gonna be busy, so
Oh,
yeah,
bummer.
Yeah.
that sucks. I would love to run that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be a good time.
Especially-
Hopefully, Kyle and the 8 team show up with some speed since they had some speed at Auto Club. I don't know how did Reddick do down there up there last year.
He ran really well. Tire issues, I believe,
Okay.
because they always were pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
So
Very
excited for Michigan. We'll of course recap it next week. Also, other random iRacing though, IMSA is at Road America, so I might
Ooh.
dabble in that
I
as
might have to do some
well.
iRacing this week. It's been a little bit.
Come
Yeah.
on, let's go.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay's
Michigan
been
Road
playing Call
America?
of Duty a lot though, so that's all. That's
So you let her do
you're
that.
taking a lot of
And
my
you-
gaming time. Well, in a good
and
way.
you
It's
race.
not a complaint. But yeah, it's a good point. I'll let her play.
She's
COD
encroaching
over.
on my space, and I
How
don't like
dare
it.
she? How dare she take up a hobby I enjoy and I have to do it with her? Oh no!
This isn't what marriage is about. We're supposed to have our separate things.
Even though I strongly encourage her to pick up playing this game. Oh no! No, it's honestly been a
Yeah.
blast. Definitely get your significant others to play video games with you. It's one of the most
especially
fun things.
COD. Especially
she's
COD.
in the
Then your marriage is more toxic.
She
I
did.
heard.
I shared this in Discord. She had her first rage quit.
That's good, man.
Last week,
There you
I was
go.
at work. She texted me. She's like, "I just left a game. There was a bunch of campers in it, and I got mad." And so I said, "Wow, your first rage quit. A real
We
gamer."
have got to do the Joe versus Lindsay gaming tournament. And do the sweep of like all of our major games. Do a COD game. Do Tarkov
an
offline
iRacing.
raid. Do an iRacing race. Do some Rocket League. Just
I don't want to embarrass
championship
Lindsay
of
like that 'cause she would
midness.
lose. I'm, no offense, Lindsay. I'm passing up an opportunity to dig at jokes. I've digged at you enough tonight, Joe. You would definitely win.
Thanks.
I would hope
You're
so.
welcome.
But yeah, so no OnlyFans questions this week, but that's a good
Nope.
reminder. Make sure to hit us up on the website, or you can DM us on Twitter or Discord if you're friends with us on Discord. Hit us up with an OnlyFans question,
Our
and we
German
will.
listeners, please submit one in German, and then you can hear me try to read it on stream and try
Yeah.
to translate it. So
Mhm.
that'd be
Yeah.
good entertainment for you.
Yeah, so hit us with some questions to end the podcast. But yeah, so to wrap us up, we got Survivor picks. So Zachary, hit us with those.
Survivor pool. So Joseph stole it from me on that last restart. I had Priest who finished 5th, and then Joey Logano came out of nowhere
Built it. That was wild. He just
And-
shot out of a cannon.
and got 4th. So it was
I
Joe
think I should have
winning.
won that.
I was second. You
Like-
should have, but didn't. That's tough. And
Dude,
then
he
Andrew was
so
3rd.
quick.
Oh, he wasn't quick when it mattered, though. He wasn't quick enough.
Well, he got
If he
a
was-
speeding penalty or no, he
Yeah.
hit the cone or whatever the fuck it is going in the pits.
That's tough. That's tough. So Andrew was 3rd in 8th, and then Drake finally got a loss, a full stop loss by picking the world's best driver.
of my world's best driver pick. Golly, man.
Yeah, finished 19th. What a day to! I'd love to know what Larson's like worst finish was where he didn't wreck, because that's got to be up there.
It's got to be world's best driver. Can't even drive
Yep.
a
I
Richmond.
feel like when I picked him, he shit the bed too. I don't even remember when I picked him.
I don't know. I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah.
Jumping out at me.
Finished 20th. When
Oh,
I
there you
picked
Where was that at?
him. Darlington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, place he's run pretty well at.
Well, apparently not that time. All right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Drake, you're up first. Who you got?
You know, I'm surprised I haven't used him yet. We talked about how good Fords are. I'd go with the old Slowy Slogano.
Slowy Logano.
I wanted Logano, you bastard.
Hey, I need to keep this lead.
It's
You're
like
still in
one
striking
of the
distance.
few fast guys.
He's
Well,
got a
fucking
full
Joe's
race.
coming up. Yeah.
By the way,
Joe's- I'm tied with Joe now. Like, what the fuck happened?
That's embarrassing.
Andrew has
Here,
54
boy.
points. Joe has
Here.
54 points. I have 53 points, and then Drake has 59. So he still has more than a race above us.
Yeah,
we're all
but
within a point. So we need Drake to lose a lot. All right. So who you going with?
Who am I going with? Let's go Chris Buscher.
Chris Buscher.
Buscher.
Musha.
I'll go Ricky. Oh, Ricky Stenhouse. They've been consistent and showing good speed. So
Get a top 10.
good
Maybe.
top 10. We'll see what happens. And Joseph.
Survivor pool for me is going to be Kyle Larson.
Mm,
Larson.
Trash.
Okay.
Yeah, I still got him. Might as well use it.
might as well. It's good. I mean,
Throw
with
away.
the next 3 races, it's probably a good pick for Larson to use him
Yeah.
instead of the next 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is our last like standard oval of the regular season.
It is.
Wow.
We got
So
kind of wild.
it is indeed. But with the Survivor, any last tidbits?
Words
from- I hope Survivor comes down to Daytona for us. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
hope
that
Drake
would
falls
be.
back, and we're all within like a point going into Daytona. It's gonna be awesome.
That'd be
but-
awesome.
I mean, it mathematically could happen.
It's not going to, but that's really cool. Thought.
It-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Us Drake has been fined 5 points for
For competition purposes.
Yeah,
That's how they're going to get McDowell out and chase in, so-
performance enhancing
Yeah.
alcohol.
Oh,
something like
here's
that.
what's gonna happen. Here's my prediction. All right, final thoughts. Chase is gonna be like 10 points out after Daytona. Then they're going to inspect the living shite out of whoever's in 16th's car, DQ them from the race, and Chase is gonna get in. That's what I hope. Again, not hurting Chase, but I hope.
I mean, they don't. They just have to find something. I mean, they found tape on Denny's car
Yeah.
and DQ'd him. So
random inspection. Michael McDowell. Yeah, you come on here.
Chase, and Chase didn't even need that win either. He already had like 3.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well,
good stuff.
They
Yeah.
finished third and got the win. Like, come on.
yeah.
for a
So-
piece of tape.
But yeah, so that
Love it.
is this week's episode. Remember to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube and the Twitter, and get those OnlyFans questions in for next week's episode. And with that, we'll send you off and have a good night.
This next of all.
Oh, before we
Oh.
leave.
One more thing.
So, Zach, you made this great outro for
Uh-oh.
us. You had to remake it, bud.
Why?
It's X now, not Twitter.
Oh,
I'm not remaking shit. I'm never calling it
Oh
egg.
no! Oh,
You can
darn.
remake it. It took me 75 tries to say underscore TTTV.
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 I hope you didn't say that because that's not.
I don't know what I said. Whatever I said is what's on the outro, so we're stuck with
Make
it.
sure to follow us on x.com.